Hi, folks. My name is Raj Kapoor, and I am the founder of the India Blockchain Alliance, the largest single think tank and advisory in India. Well, today we've got a very interesting topic that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the metaverse and the different aspects of metaverse and NFTs, etc. While the whole world is going gaga over metaverse and saying it's the next big thing, well, it is. It sure is. And you know what? It's growing bigger by the day. The metaverse is now entering all our homes, all our lives. And let me tell you something about it, bud. The metaverse, great that it is, we still have to be a little cautious. But today, I'm going to talk not only about how brilliant the metaverse space is, but also the 10 little steps we need to take and 10 things which we need to be careful about in the metaverse. Let me quickly get into that. So that's me, Raj Kapoor again, and I'm going to start my presentation right now. So let me just showcase a few things that we all either know or would love to know. The market size is $478.7 billion in 2020. And in the next 4 years, that is by 2024, it's going to be $800 billion, almost double of what it was in 2020. We're already halfway through there. We're 2022 now. And this size is, going to get even bigger than 800 billion. But anyway, 800 billion is massive. Well, what does that tell us? More and more people are getting into this space. Not just me, not just you. Every day, more people are coming in. Also, let's have a look. By 2026, 25% of people will spend at least an hour in the metaverse. If you're not already doing that, guys, you and I are going to spend more than an hour in 2026. The new ones will spend a little less time. The ones like us who will become professionals by that time will spend much more. The next thing you also got to know, the metaverse market is growing at 13.1% every year. That's a pretty rapid growth. Well, we also see a lot of inflation growing pretty fast, but this is growing more than inflation. So let's enjoy that. Do you also know that 74% of US adults are joining or considering joining the metaverse? Well, that's the US. Do you know what the stats are in India? In India, almost 80% of the population below 35 wants to get into the metaverse or is already there. That's even bigger than the US right now. We all know that Facebook is now known as Meta and has invested more than $10 billion in this metaverse. And when people start using that big time, metaverse will be here to stay. Just for your knowledge also, the market cap of Web2 metaverse companies is $14.8 trillion. It is more than the economies of so many nations. Wow, everything sounds great. Hunky-dory, rosy, bright, fantastic, lovely numbers. But my presentation today is not about the brilliance of metaverse. That's already been established. What it is about, it is the metaverse risks we need to watch out for, guys. There are risks involved. While everything seems brilliant, we go to another world. We see, a tech digital world where we can do what we like. We can don our different clothes, our avatars. But there's certain things that we must watch out for, and that is the theme of my presentation today. Let's take it one by one. While the metaverse has some really exciting features, it also comes with a lot of obstacles and threats, and that's as my duty to tell exactly what they are. So you, while you enjoy the metaverse journey, be aware of the obstacles and threats and don't fall prey. That's important. So let's enjoy this journey. The top 10 threats is what I have put together in my presentation. There are more. Some people say there are lots more, but let's take the top 10 most immediate threats. That's important. First, harassment and cyberbullying. Now, everybody knows that cyberbullying is a very common practice, even on Facebook or Insta or wherever, lots of places. But in the metaverse, the experience is going to be almost realistic. And therefore, the pain, the suffering would be pretty much more severe than it is right now. That's a sad thing, but that is one of the things we need to be careful about, because no laws have been built for harassment and cyberbullying. And that's another space which will come later on there. The second is, we are all the time going to be in a metaverse. First of all, it affects us mentally. Also, malicious people may hypothetically replace ads with pictures that cause motion sickness. So when you have these Oculus glasses on, you will find little convulsions and images which when they are sent to the headset. That could be very risky and very hazardous to your mental health. It messes up the mind, so to speak. And there are a lot of people doing that even now. It is only going to increase with more adoption. And with 5G and the 6G and the speeds coming up, this can become a very sad reality. So we have to deal with that. We have to deal with making ourselves mentally stronger, and also how we can avoid this is what we must learn. The third threat is very, very difficult. Very critical, I would say. The theft of identity. Now, we all have our identities and we all have our ID cards, etc. If rigorous security measures are not adopted, identity theft in the metaverse will become even easier. Even in the real world, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Well, somebody can just say, all right, I'm Raj. Cool. And just take my identity and then behave badly or do cyberbullying or do malicious mischief. That's very sad, because it is possible right now in the metaverse. A lot of people say it may not be possible, but guys, it's a reality. It is going to be there. And we need to take steps to prevent that in the future. That's another one, unauthorized data collection. Now, while we are in the Web 2 space, and we always have the control of your data is generally with large corporates. I won't name them, but the large big tech companies have access to your data. Now, we feel that maybe we've come into the Web 3.0 space, we've gone on the metaverse, which is on the blockchain, and nobody can access our data. Well, you're wrong. Virtual reality headsets, for example, may allow third parties to collect sensitive personal data. Now, and in the metaverse, you have more data because you have your voice print data, the biometric data, and even facial geometry. So somebody can steal that and become you in the digital world. Not a very pleasant thought. So that's another threat we should be looking out for. Another very major problem is going to be attacks via ransomware. Basically, they have these malicious viruses which come and take control of all your data, and then they ask for money to release so that you can get access to your data once again. That's why it's called ransomware in the first place, because it asks for a ransom for you to re-access your data. So your metaverse profile will have a lot more information than a regular social media page, and therefore a lot of sensitive information. So ransomware attacks are going to be there. Of course, as we go ahead in time, there are going to be a lot of solutions for this also. But right now, this threat and risk is very much there. Be very careful. There are a lot of ransomware attacks happening. Well, there's another one which I always bring this in, and I tell parents, I tell my students, and I tell everybody who's getting into the space, changing the real world perceptions. That's another very big threat. Metafluence includes how you see the actual world. I've seen a lot of people spend hours into the metaverse and they actually forget how to make friends in the real world, how to communicate in the real world, how to really behave in the real world. Not only the real world, with their parents, with their friends, with their siblings. It's a problem. Now, we had a study, and participants avoided sitting in a chair where a computer-generated avatar had been seen in their AR environment. All these things are different things which are going to happen because our real-world perceptions will start changing. That's a risk. Don't let that happen. The real world always is where you are. The virtual world or the metaverse is going to be another alternative, but not the only. This is not the solution. The solution is still all right here, right now. This is another one that you should be careful about. The seventh threat, deep fake videos. What are deep fakes? They are modified videos or audio clips that appear and or sound like someone else. You could probably see the president of your country speaking and talking something, but actually it's not him. It's somebody else. You could see maybe an influencer saying something, but actually it's not something else. It's all been simulated. It's all been made, and bogus campaigns delivered via deep-fake, falsified audios and video snippets also can endanger the country's security. This is to cause unrest between people, between communities, etc. That's a very real thing happening and a very risky thing happening. It's already happening in Web 2.0. Not that it's not going to happen. It's going to happen worse in Web 3.0 because now you can have the deep fakes, which look almost real. That's a risk. And especially for people who are very young and impressionable, it could have very serious consequences, not only for individuals, but for countries and nations. We got to be really careful of this threat number 7. The 8th threat is attacks using social engineering. As we get deep dive into technology, lots of good things, yes, but a lot of threats and obstacles again. The activity of mentally influencing someone into giving sensitive information is known as social engineering. So that is the first thing out of the way. That's what social engineering means. Mentally influencing someone into giving information by making them feel that you belong to them, etc. It's some sort of a subliminal way of influencing. Because of the large quantity of personal data that will get to the metaverse, it's going to become a gold mine for hackers. Hackers are going to actually look at that. They must be licking their lips in joy and say, wow, there's a lot of information coming us. And that's how we'll make people like you and me part with it by speaking very nicely or pretending to be someone else, or using a different avatar. Don't fall prey to that. Social engineering is now evolving on the wrong side as well. So be careful, and that's my threat number 8, which I want to highlight. Well, there's a danger of shared spaces as well. The metaverse is nothing but a shared space because we'll have to deal with people who have different viewpoints. You may not like something, I may not like something, we may have different opinions, we may not like any political parties, we may not like any football teams, lots of things. There can be so many differences. And people behave differently in the virtual environment. They can be extremely aggressive, which they may not do in the real world because they have consequences here. They don't have too many consequences in the metaverse right now. And as a result, they can actually behave really badly. They can be extremely offensive, extremely patriarchal. They could be anything. There are so many risks involved. So people behave differently in virtual environments than they actually do in the real world. And my last threat, lots of new applications with metaverse coming in. There's going to be so many new applications, so many new things happening. There's a risk there. We'll have to vet all new applications. Huge volume of data, sensitive data, is going to be retained in the metaverse. However, can be made to harm. We'll need to come up with ways to ensure that all new apps that are coming in there are scanned for harmful code. Otherwise, that code, if it's harmful and malicious, it can take away all your data again. So while I talked about 10 threats, there are many threats, but most of them revolve around 3 major sections. One is data. The second is how you will start perceiving the world. The next one is basically a lot of risks involved, a lot of behavioral changes, and more important, mental issues. While we must enjoy what the metaverse gives us, it gives us expression, freedom, we must also be cautious about how we need to behave in the metaverse and how we need to deal with instances in the metaverse. So while I say, welcome to the new world, this is going to be a new world for you, for me. We are experiencing it. So while we do all the things to make the metaverse safe, we must also prepare ourselves for all the risks and challenges that it brings us. So together, you and I won't just make the metaverse a wonderful place, we'll make the metaverse a betterverse. That's what we should do. Make it the betterverse. And that's it from my side. I'm Raj Kapoor again, signing off. I hope this little session has made you aware of the risks in this space and how we should take care of them. Thank you and goodbye for now. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.